Hey guys, in this video we're going to create this web design in Adobe XD. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so let's get started and let's create this brand new website. So the very first thing I did is I created a website artboard which by dimensions is 1920 by 1080. And the very next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a logo of some sort. So this is going to be the main logo, and we're going to use the Google Web Font Open Sans for this one. And let's make this one extra bold. We're also going to change the fill to black so that it's going to have this nice effect. And let's just change up the order here so that it looks like one of those abstract logos. And what we're gonna do also, even before we get started with adding all the elements and all of those fancy things, we're actually going to go ahead and create a grid. So I'm going to go with the layout grid, and 12 columns, it's it's pretty good. The only thing that we're gonna do is we're going to make the column width a little bit bigger, and we're also going to add some gutter. So this point is just about experimenting a little bit and trying to figure out what's the type of layout which you like to have. I'm also going to tone down the grid just a little bit because I don't want it to interfere too much with my design choices. So that's that. Now another thing that I'm gonna do is in order for you to see each and every keyboard action which I'm gonna do, I'm going to add the keyboard right here. So the very first one is a shortcut in order to duplicate a text, and this is going to help us create the top menu. So we're going to go over here, duplicate this a few times. It's going to be the about section, and we're going to have a services page, and also a contact us, and let's add a blog as well. Alright, so far so good. Now what we're gonna do is we're not going to make these extra bold, but we're probably going to go with semi-bold, something around these lines. And also let's make the top heading sections a little bit smaller, and let's give them some breathing room between one and the other. So I'm just going to select all of them, and I'm going to use the distribute horizontally action. So alright, so far so good. Also vertically, I think we're in a pretty good space, and now I'm going to leverage a set of icons which I got from Drawkit, which is an amazing website for finding icons, and I'm going to simply add one of these. I can select pretty much anyone they want for this project, but for the time being, and I'm mainly looking at the colors, so I'm trying to think ahead about what type of color palette you might want. So maybe let's go with this one right here, or even the previous one. This one could actually be quite good. And let's go ahead and let's make the illustration a little bit smaller, and this is going to help us get the general feeling of the website. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to have some sort of a headline on the left, and also some call to actions with some description. But what I'm noticing is that over here the spacing is a little bit too far out, so I'm just going to go back and I'm going to make these a little bit more tighter. Alright, so let's go ahead here and hire the next freelancer. Let's just add some random text for now, and then we can go ahead and change it and whatnot. What I'm gonna do here is I'm going to copy the style right here. I'm going to paste the appearance right here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add some Lipson text. The only problem is that, and by the way, you can copy and paste any text that you want as long as it's quite substantial in quantity. And one of the problems that we're facing now is that we have a lot of text, but it's like all over the place. So what we want to do is to just deselect the text, select it again, and now one thing that we can do is to simply go ahead and make this area text, and let's make the width 500, and we're just going to drag this down. So basically, by changing it into area text, we're having these constraints, and we just change the width of the constraint directly from here. So that's going to make our life easier. Now we don't need all of this text, so I'm just going to remove this top section. I just want 3 sentences so that it's just easier to manage overall. And I'm probably going to make this regular, and let's add a little bit of height over here. And so far, so good. Now another thing that we're gonna do is we're going to create a rectangle, and we're going to start adding the first buttons really. So for the button, for the main one, probably going to select one of the colors that we have in the illustration in order to really keep that branding consistency, and it's just going to look good as we don't want to have all sorts of different colors going around. I'm also rounding the edges of this rectangle just to make it look a little bit cooler, a little bit more user-friendly, and that's the type of branding that we want to go with. And I'm going to write here, get started. I'm going to reverse this from the area text to the point text, since we're just going to have 2 words here, so it's going to be pretty manageable. And let's go ahead over here, let's make this one bold, and I'm going to probably just make it a little bit bigger, maybe 23, center it, bring it 1 below, and I'm also going to make this text just a little bit smaller, and let's try and go with fill on these lines, maybe make the fill a little bit less pronounced, and overall it's starting to look pretty good. Probably want just a little bit of less emphasis on this get started text. I'm just going to make it smaller overall, and yeah, so far so good. Also going to duplicate this and want to go with a different style for the other button, and I'm going to try something else, such as making it like this, then just 10% opacity, and this one is going to be try for free. It's going to be a call to action with not as much emphasis as the get started one, since we want the emphasis to be on that one specifically. And let's go ahead and make this text extra bold, just to give it some visual differentiation. And cool, so far so good. Try and make this illustration just a little bit bigger. And what we're gonna do now is we're just going to experiment with the pen tool, and we're going to try and create some sort of shape which is going to basically set a tone to the website design. And probably let's go with something around these lines. And at this point, it's just about experimenting and trying to figure out what's gonna work in our specific case. And as you can see, I just turned this into a fill, and the illustration disappeared, but as long as we bring it down, everything should be pretty cool. All right, so let's go ahead here and let's make this a linear gradient. I'm also going to select the first one, and I'm going to use this color right here, and I'm going to select the second one, and I'm going to select the same color, but this time I'm going to manually make it white, and on this one as well I'm going to just try and make it way lighter. Okay, this is interesting, but probably I want to try some other type of gradient in this, and at this point it's just about experimenting and trying different things out. So there isn't really a right or wrong approach. It's just about really trying and seeing what's working for our specific case. Cool. So far, so good. Another thing I would want to add here is some sort of call to action to contact a support agent, and again we're going to make this into a point text. We're going to make this actually let's use this color right here. It's going to be more appropriate for a hyperlink style. All right, so let's go ahead here. Let's make this one semi-bold, and so far so good. What I want to do now is to actually uncheck the grid so I can have a clear picture as to what is going on. And at this point I'm not 100% sure about the gradient. So what I'm gonna do in these cases, I'm just going to copy and paste the website just a few times, and I'm going to create different variations of this gradient right here, since this is going to allow us to essentially see, or actually for some reason this is going a little bit too far. We don't really want a gradient just like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of the gradient, and I'm actually, you know what, I'm actually going to try a different type of wave for this one, so we can also see a different effect, and then we can decide upon which one we like the most, because I'm not sure that I loved the first wave, and I want to try a different composition. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do, and as you can see, it's just a matter of experimenting at this phase. It's you can really have all of the answers right away when you're creating a design, unless you're copying a design from something that you already know that you want the exact look, really. So it's all about experimenting, it's all about trying different things out and seeing what works, what you like the most, and what you're willing to, what's the solution you're willing to take as the final one, really. Alright, so far so good. Let's make this a little bit wider, just like this. This is already looking pretty interesting. Has a totally different feeling from the previous one, and in a good way. So cool. I actually want to try this again, and let's go on to the very next one. Let's remove this, and let's bring it down. What I want to try now is to, instead of having this orange, I want to try and add the blue tint to this. So as you can see, the entire feeling has changed, and this is becoming a little bit more corporate, I'd say, in look, and has that that feeling. But if you make it lighter, I guess we can tone it down even further, and yeah, we can just we can literally adjust the feeling based on you know, the type of colors and how light they are, all those things. Maybe let's try and make it even go even more down, and you can try even something crazy like this that goes all over the text. But probably let's just keep it a little bit more on the conservative side. Let's just leave it as it is right now. So just like a bit of a tilt over here, that would do. Let's bring the text just a little bit more on the bottom to compensate. All right, so far so good. So as you can see, we have different variations of the same homepage, and you can experiment. Feel free to experiment with different vector sizes, different gradients, and try and make it the design your own. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one. So really hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up, as this motivates me to create even more videos for you guys. Now on my YouTube channel I have over 300 videos on UI UX design and freelance design, as I've been a freelancer for over 8 years, working for small and large companies. So feel free to check it out if you're interested in those type of videos, and I'll see you in the next one.